This is the Non-Typical Nation podcast with your hosts, Brody Teal and Eric Labrie.
Let's talk hunting and absolutely everything else that goes with it. We're back for another podcast, and Brody's got some exciting news for everybody.
Awesome. Let's cut to the chase. Let's get this done. Get it out of the way. We want you and a friend to join us on a black bear hunt this spring.
This spring,
man, you're right. A ton of bears around. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to film it for a future episode of Non-Typical Nation as well. Super simple to enter. Just go to our Facebook page, check out the contest video, follow the instructions, and you'll be entered. February 15th. So in a few days, we will be announcing the winner. So get on that right now. Exit out of this podcast screen, go to Facebook, enter that contest, and comment done on that post.
Guys, this is our home turf. This is where we hunt. This is where we've hunted for the last 10 years. There's bears crawling everywhere.
It's going to be a ton of fun. I cannot wait. It's always good getting out with some new people, whether they've bear hunted or not before. It's always, super exciting, showing them some new country. And might be over bait, might be spot and stock. We'll have to wait and see.
We have the options, man. That's the beauty of it being here on our home turf. We've got baits that have been established for years, and we've got territory that we've hunted spot and stock for years.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait. But yeah, no, it's going to be good. We're going to be getting bait right away here. I think the next month or so, I'm going to pick up a load, and what is it, March? When can we get bait out? It's 2 weeks before season open. Season open April 1st or is April 15th? I should know this. Jesus Christ.
I think it's zone dependent. I always forget too. I
think it's April 1st. Usually April 1st I get out there.
Yeah.
Get my bait out. We're going to be in Yorkton April 2nd and 3rd, I think.
Yeah, well, last year we did it right after. So
is that what we did?
I even picked some stuff up on the way home.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I did. It was right after Yorkton last year I started baiting.
Yeah. The guys at Northern Bear Grub got a ton of baits, and they're moving it already. They're taking truckloads out daily. I see on Instagram and Facebook.
Thousands and thousands of pounds, tens of thousands of pounds.
Yeah, I guess that's why I'm getting so antsy and excited to get bait.
To see all their delicious bait. On
their
Facebook page. There,
yeah, so I'll get the bait out early, get the baits rocking, and it'll be a ton of fun. I love spot and stock bear hunting though too. You'll cover a ton of country, and there's a good chance you'll see a handful of bears, a dozen bears, even if you get lucky in a day.
Oh, absolutely! I've seen the most bears I've ever seen in a day. I think 13.
Yeah,
that's a lot of bears, man.
But we're in grizzly country,
as of last year.
You
saw more grizzlies in the first 2 weeks of hunting than you did black bears.
At one point in the season, I'd seen more grizzly bears than I did black bears, and I could not believe it.
And neither one of us had ever seen grizzlies before here.
Yes, and you know what else? Bigfoot, Sasquatch. This is the exact same spot. Exact same spot. We drive right through that spot where this fella claims he's seen Sasquatch last year.
Yeah, we're the new Slave Lake is the new Sasquatch hotspot.
Yeah, so you know what? This winter might even have a chance at seeing a Sasquatch.
You think they den up and have cubs this time of year or what?
This right now? More? Are they denned up?
Yeah, you think there might be a few more running around?
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. This guy who's seen it last year, he was bear hunting, and it was springtime. He was bear hunting, same place we bear hunt, spot and stock, and he's seen Bigfoot. He's seen Sasquatch.
And was attacked or I don't know.
Yeah,
not necessarily attacked.
Here, I'm gonna bring this sucker up on my phone here. Okay. Slave Lake, Sasquatch. Type of encounter was a visual sighting reported by Confidential. You know what? That bothers me. Confidential, would you, I don't know, would you protect your name if you said this, or would you go out and say you've seen Sasquatch? Actually, have you seen a Sasquatch?
I've never seen a Sasquatch.
No. Yeah.
No, I've seen just the normal animals in the woods. I've never seen anything.
Antler Obsession brings them in.
Does it?
Yeah.
The no bullshit Bigfoot game supplement.
The no bullshit big game supplement. Do you know anyone who's seen Sasquatch or Bigfoot or claims?
I've met a few clients when I was guiding that have claimed to see Sasquatch.
Really?
Bigfoot. Yeah.
And see, that's what I like. So they are admitting to it. They're claiming. Where this guy,
and
he
people from
says
all
confidential.
all over wherever too. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those weird, widespread. Everybody sort of believes it, but there's still no proof, like no concrete proof.
Oh man, but we're supposed to be in the heart of it. That's what this guy's saying. Witness was driving down a logging road bear hunting with his wife and children at 9:30 p.m. Which, hey, it's light out till 10:30.
Yeah,
I think you can hunt till in spring.
That seems late, but yeah, we can bear hunt even till 11 o'clock some days.
Yeah. So when they spotted what appeared to be the rear end of a bear entering the left-hand side of the cut line for a power line they were driving by, the witness exited the vehicle and walked down the cut line approximately 50 yards to where the animal had entered the bush line. When he arrived on the right-hand side of the cut line, poplar trees 8 inches in diameter began to shake violently shaking poplars. The witness described it as an explosion of movement in the bush next to him. Immediately, he saw 2 very large hands start to part the trees and bushes with fingers approximately just smaller than a Red Bull can in diameter.
That's some big fingers, man.
That is some huge fingers.
Next level sausage fingers.
So I would imagine he's probably on that new cut line that they just put in.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
You know exactly where
I know exactly where this is because I'm pretty sure I've seen some big tracks around there that might not have been bears.
Some big tracks. Yeah, I've seen some big bear tracks around there.
Anyways, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but the witness described the head to be the width of a basketball with golf ball sized eyes, a large pronounced brow ridge, a large forehead with little hair, a flattened nose with nostrils the size of 2 thumbs side by side, and matted hair. You know what? I want to get this guy on here. If anybody knows who this person is, like I said, it's reported by Confidential. Tell him to get a hold of Non-Typical Nation.
Yeah, we could do
I want to chat more about this.
We could do the whole, like 90s mystery reality TV show. We could put you in the dark side of the room and cover your face and animate your voice a little bit and keep you anonymous.
I want to go look for Bigfoot.
Yeah?
I think we should go back to the same spot.
Well, I'm always looking, but I never see anything with a Bigfoot, so.
Yeah. Did you hear this interview?
I listened to, I think 3/4 of it, if not all of it.
Yeah, so this was last spring, and I think I listened to half of it. I think it was an hour and a half, the audio interview. I listened to half of it, and he's confident it was a Bigfoot.
Yeah, and I saw, because it was a local sort of pariah for a little while too.
Yeah.
There was people on there saying they knew who it was and that they're a trusted
really?
hunter and that they're like a person that would know, what they saw.
I sort of hope I don't know this person.
But you just said you wanted to interview him.
I know, but oh man,
there's a weirdness.
No, like I would prefer that it was someone I don't know for some reason.
It just gives you a little
like if it was someone I knew. I don't know.
Might just change your outlook of them.
It might change my outlook.
So, but to summarize the story, so I did listen to the recording. I think if I get this right, he talked about he got out to approach what they thought was a bear, right? And he even had his rifle in hand, I'm pretty sure. And then he saw, the Red Bull fingers spread the poplar trees and look through, saw the face. And then he turned to return to his truck, and the Bigfoot started throwing mud at his truck. And by the time he got in his truck, there was like mud landing on the roof. And
see, that's how I know it wasn't a bear.
Yeah, I've never seen a bear throw anything.
No. What else would throw mud at him?
I don't know. Big rutting moose, but not in the springtime.
No. A moose would throw mud that far with their antlers? Or what?
Oh, yeah. Chuck it around.
Really?
Never seen an elk splash around in a wallow?
Okay, well, we know it wasn't a moose, though, because he said it had a face with hands.
And it was in the spring.
And it was in the spring. Unless it was just someone fucking with him.
That's a bad spot to be messing around with a
In
dark
bear
suit
season
on
with a
and-
gun. Yeah. Jeez, man. I've got so many questions for this guy. We
Just
got to
had
get him
have
in
been
here.
Bigfoot. It had to have been.
Yeah.
That's proof right there.
Interesting. I want to go back to that location. I think I know approximately
Well,
where it
wasn't
is.
there
I'm pretty-
wasn't there like an
Someone did go there.
wasn't there an Alberta Bigfoot or
Alberta-
Canadian Bigfoot
yes.
Association or something? Some guy actually came here.
Actually,
from
I was
somewhere.
just reading this article on Alberta Sasquatch,
Yeah, there you
Bigfoot
go.
in the Canadian Rockies, and they went to the supposed location. I
Yeah, he did a
recognized it.
video, and I recognized it too.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw that video.
Like we've literally shot bears a rock throw away
Like,
from there.
yeah, less than a mile
Yeah.
from there. Yeah.
Oh man. So we've got grizzlies to look for, Sasquatch, and black bears this spring. Now that raises another question: is the Sasquatch a protected animal?
Yeah, I don't know. Does
Or
it
would
fall
it-
under
would
like
it-
the bison? It's like
Yeah, it would be
like an
an
invasive
invasive species.
I don't know. Maybe you get charged with murder. Who knows?
No. It's there in a human.
How do you know? You don't know what it is.
Well, I know if it's a Sasquatch, it's a Sasquatch.
But it's got to be smart enough to avoid civilization for the last
That's a thing,
150
man.
years.
Yeah, they're smart. There's a few guys who've caught glimpses though, like this guy.
Yeah. What about all of our all of our badass trail cameras we got out right now? Though?
Yeah, but you know a respectable hunter who got us into bow hunting.
Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, let's stay vague on that one.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I do know somebody that
Yeah.
I respect their opinion
Very, yeah.
and their judgment a lot. That says that he has pictures of Bigfoot.
Yeah. And when this article or this news thing came out about Bigfoot, I put it out on Non-Typical Nation asking if anyone's seen or heard of anything. And there were some stories where guys like had messaged us and they were dead set that they had seen or experienced something with a Sasquatch or Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it.
Almost everybody knows somebody that's
Yeah.
seen or thinks they've seen or
So full of shit or has seen.
there's
There's
a
gotta
little
be
bit
something.
of something there.
Yeah.
I always ask hunters when I always ask clients, it's just one of the fun
That's
things to
one of
bring
the-
up when you're traveling back and forth. It's like
You always ask 'em.
I always ask. It's
Really, eh?
hilarious. I always ask about politics because like most people stay away from that,
Oh, fuck.
and because I'm totally impartial because I don't belong to that country, right? So I always just ask, and because the last couple of years politics has been crazy in the U.S., so
Yeah.
it's always a fun topic. And then I always ask about Bigfoot. It's like my go-to.
Really, eh?
And because you just never know what you're gonna hear.
Yeah, so get back to that. You said one of your clients seen him, or what's the deal
Yeah, I
there?
had a client last year, I guess 2 years ago now. He was from Washington, somewhere along Washington, Oregon area, and his whole family was sort of had Sasquatch involved in it.
Wow.
And so his brother, apparently a week before this hunt, his brother had gone out and looked for Sasquatch, was looking. He told him that he had found the cave where they were living, and he was going to go in the cave and finally see what there was to see. And so allegedly his brother went missing, and this guy came on this hunt, and his brother was still missing while he was on the hunt.
Wow.
And he was going to go look for him when he got home.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. And then he started telling me about this whole long, elaborate story about how his brother for years they hunt elk up in the big hills. And
What state?
I think it's Washington.
Oh, yeah,
I'm pretty
did you
sure it's
say-
Washington. Yeah.
Okay.
It was either Washington or Oregon, but I'm
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
sure it was Washington. And they'd hunt in the big timber up in the hills for elk all the time. And these are like older guys, like like in his 60s even.
Mm-hmm.
And his brother for years had been bringing fruit and vegetables to this one stump, huge, one of the redwood trees or whatever. Well, I guess it wouldn't have been a redwood, but some massive timber tree that a logger had cut years and years and years ago. His brother started bringing vegetables there. He'd found a track, and the first time he brought vegetables, they had left like the vegetables were gone 2 days later, and there was like a pile of wild mushrooms on the stump.
Wow.
And then he, you know, however long later, he brought another box of whatever, vegetables or fruits. And then he found like polished rocks left on this stump. And then he found like an animal skull on the stump and like some antlers. And then right before he went missing, there was this huge polished yellow boulder, and he showed me a picture of it. Like an actual cell phone, original photo on his cell phone of this picture of this massive stone that had to have been like thousands of pounds on the stump. Like there was no way any like sort of machinery could get up on this mountainside.
Wow.
There was no anything.
That would drive me insane. Yeah. Like I would go insane because there's something.
Well, he showed me, I think he showed me like
here.
9 pictures of different like figures in the woods, and they were all original photos on his cell phone, and they were all like
a little sketchy.
Like I'm not really a believer.
No.
Yeah, so I'm always open to whatever. People can believe whatever the hell they want, and I'm interested in why you believe whatever the hell you want. So he was showing me, and even like sitting there, I was like, wow, like those are, you know, pretty iffy photos of like what the hell could it have been.
If that guy was here and told me that and showed me those photos, I would be convinced that there is a Sasquatch or Bigfoot, because that story you just told me right now.
Well, and that was a butchered version.
You can't explain some of that stuff. And then if he has photos, and then his brother goes missing, and he goes on a hunt, and his brother's still missing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's a goofy guy, like sort of really relaxed and goofy about it. Didn't really seem worried about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And on the last day of the hunt, he was like, well, I said, so, you know, what's next? What are you doing when, you know,
when I find my brother?
He's like, well, I guess I gotta go track down my brother in the cave. He's like, he probably got his head hanging on the wall somewhere in their cave.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, you're pretty relaxed about it. He's like, well, my brother's kind of gone missing before and just showed up again. So, but looking for Bigfoot every time.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know.
Those weren't psychedelic mushrooms, were they?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Could have been.
Yeah. Could just be on a long trip.
Could have been.
Looking for
Maybe
Sasquatch.
It's microdosing or something.
No, I don't think that's microdosing. I think he's taking it a little farther than that. You know what? And like, I want to believe.
Oh, it would be awesome. I'm always up for something exciting.
And I love listening to stories and stuff. But that story you just told me, like that would sell it if this guy was here and showed me those photos.
Well, he was confident. Like I told him what I thought of the whole thing, and I asked him questions.
And you still don't believe it?
He had an answer. Well, there's just no proof. I mean, I believe that he believes that there's something there.
So
that's good enough for me.
What is proof for you? Seeing a dead Sasquatch,
a body or a bone, DNA of some kind. You know, every time I've listened to, I don't know, Meat Eater did a podcast about it not long ago. You know, Rogan's been on about it a million times, and so on. But they've done tests on all these fur samples that people find, and they always come back as bear or moose or cow or human or dog, or, you know, there's never been any sort of scientific proof besides a cast of a foot in the ground or something like that.
Interesting.
And like, you know, you'd find bones. They find
you would when that
Indian
animal
bones
dies.
still.
Yeah. I know. I want to believe though, and
I would love it. It would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep believing until. Well, I'm not gonna shoot it down, I guess is what I'm saying.
I'm open-minded. Yeah. So if it shows up, I'm not gonna be, you know, I'm not gonna try and argue that it's not real, right?
Interesting.
But I'm not gonna tell you that you're not allowed to believe what you want to believe.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. You know, if we see a Sasquatch this year, maybe we'll get a shot off and get the first Sasquatch.
You know, if I saw one, I think I'll probably aim at it.
Yeah. Ken Walker, did you see the Sasquatch that he made? Like he designed?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So he took whatever fur, and he actually made a life-size Sasquatch.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
And he's like, you bring up Sasquatch around him, and you better be ready to hear some shit.
Well, there's some people that have just like dedicated their lives
Yeah.
to it, right? Like even like what's that Survivor Man, Les Stroud?
Yeah.
He went from, Survivor Man to Survivor Man Sasquatch whatever
Really,
edition.
Does he? I've heard about it. I haven't seen.
I haven't seen it. I don't watch any television now anyway, but yeah, he's done like several seasons now on Finding Sasquatch. I think it's like Finding Bigfoot with Les Stroud or something like that.
Interesting. So what would you do if you seen Sasquatch?
Shoot.
You would shoot him. Yeah.
But
Or
I've
her.
thought about it. I've spent enough time in the woods that I've thought about it. Like, I always think if I was to shoot it, I would then be so scared that the one that it's with is probably just going to get me.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's all hypothetical, but
because they're smart. Like if they're
smart enough to avoid people,
smart.
and the one's dumb enough to get killed by a person, dumb enough to get killed by a dumbass like me, I'm probably not going to make it to the truck.
Yeah. Well, this guy's seen it on a cut line.
Yeah.
Walking down the cut line, the poplars were shaking aggressively.
Yeah. With Red Bulls for fingers.
Wow. Could you imagine?
No. I mean, I've
That's
compared
insane.
bear shit to Red Bull. I always tell people that's a pretty big bear.
Yeah.
It's a Red Bull can. But
Bears are tough to judge,
yeah.
but they're shit now.
Yeah.
There's actually, I've seen small bears take some big shits.
Yeah, the big piles, but the diameter is what?
I think there's a big difference. Yeah.
Age 'em
Between
like a tree.
medium size
Yeah.
bear and a XL.
Yeah.
Really, eh?
Like a Coke can
Yeah.
shit. That's a big bear.
I've got a photo of some fresh
I don't know.
fucking bear shit on my phone.
I've probably got 100
And it-
photos of shit on my phone.
I gotta say, hunters are probably the only ones that take photos of shit.
Or
when they-
touch it. I
Or
like
touch
lean
it.
down, I kick it with my boot and flick through it.
Well, this was last fall or 2 falls ago, and this bear had eaten so many berries, he shit it out, and the
blue?
berries. Well, no, they were red, and
Oh, yeah.
the berries they were still full berries.
Oh, yeah.
Like he literally just
Yeah.
swallowed it and right through.
Yeah,
and
they
it was
eat-
just red, and
They eat
I
lots of
couldn't
berries
believe
they can't digest.
No, they
just
can.
pound
There's
them
just
back.
so many.
Yeah.
Unreal. So the Sasquatch is probably hibernating right now. Black bears are definitely hibernating right now. And grizzly bears, they sort of go in and out, eh?
I would say the grizzlies are probably wandering around right now. We've had some warm weather the last couple days.
Yeah. Well, you've seen one in November, late November.
Yeah, I saw one.
Last
Yeah, late
week.
November. Yeah,
With a ton
it
of
was
snow
the last
out.
week of November. Yeah, and it was cold. Yeah.
Hmm.
Still walking around. Still, well, it was eating on a moose kill, I think. but
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We got to, they're shutting down a lot of zones because of grizzly bears for bear baiting. Yes. Which, there's grizzly bears everywhere. Are we still going to be able to bait up here, you think?
I don't know. Maybe they'll get rid of baiting all entirely before they even start the grizzly bear hunt again. I don't think that would be a wise
Interesting.
decision, though. I think the grizzly
the
bear
reason
hunt
why-
should open back up.
Yeah, the reason why they've got it shut down or the baiting shut down in those zones is so you have less encounters with them, right?
Yeah, they don't want people and bait and grizzlies involved.
Yeah, and how do you feel about that?
Well,
Like south of here, where the Sasquatch is and where there's a ton of black bears or we've seen a lot of grizzlies. Do you think that zone should be open to baiting?
no, I think
Why not though?
I think anywhere there's grizzlies, the baiting should definitely be closed right now because anytime you bring a grizzly and a person into a close area, especially a grizzly and a person, a hunter specifically with a weapon, if he feels like he's going to defend himself, he's going to defend himself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to end up with dead grizzlies and then Fish and Wildlife has to take them and they get disposed of. And that's just the way it goes. So right now, because they're protected, and people can't take the hide and they can't take the meat if they wanted it, then I don't think it should be open. They should
Okay.
try and minimize the interaction between hunters and grizzlies because they're protected right now. So if
that
they were
would
to
mean
open
pretty
it
much
up,
everywhere we bait though would be shut down.
Yeah, but let's keep that on the hush
Yeah,
because
I
there's no
know,
grizzlies
but-
up here right now, right? Like even though
Yeah.
we've seen them all the last year, there's still not we don't want our baiting to close.
That's what I mean.
like
yeah.
I'm okay with it because I'm not going to shoot one unless I absolutely have to, and in that case, I'm going to defend my life obviously before that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that could happen anywhere. That could happen when I'm sheep hunting in the mountains, and I have to do the same thing. So. It's just the way it goes. But I think it's wise right now that they keep the ones that they know there's grizzly populations, they keep them closed because just to minimize interactions.
But yeah, so you don't want you don't want people dying. But there's beginning to be a lot of grizzlies.
Well,
and so now, but
I don't want people dying.
Yes.
Well, honestly, I don't give a shit if people die because natural selection is the best thing that's ever happened. So if it's your time to go and you're going to go by bear, then that's just the way she goes. But I don't want bears to die and then be wasted
so you don't want them to be wasted.
because they're protected right now. They have to be, right? The Fish and Wildlife just
That's
cuts
a
them in
shame.
half
That
and they
is-
dispose of them.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I guess what I was saying is BC grizzly bears hunting was shot down or ended because the population in the highly populated areas voted against it. So it's a very controversial season and topic and everything else. So if Alberta doesn't open it up, it's gonna be political. It's not gonna be because there's not enough grizzly bears.
Yeah, absolutely. That's without saying.
So if you have a few hunters in each zone a year shooting a grizzly bear in self-defense, you're somewhat controlling those numbers a little bit. Now that animal is going to waste. So that's the downfall. So if there's no hunting them, but the population is continuing to rise, I would be okay with hunters shooting them in self-defense because now you're regulating their numbers somewhat. You know what I mean?
But the bear's going to win, one of every 5, one of every 3 even.
Yeah.
And then people are going to be dying.
But is that any different than that? Like every grizzly bear I've seen this year was in the spot and stock zone.
Yeah. But you have grizzlies on your bait cameras.
Yes.
You just haven't seen them when
Haven't
you're there.
seen them when I'm there, yeah. So I don't know. I think
they just need to open the frickin' season up for the
yeah,
grizzly
they
bears.
need to open the season.
And it needs to not be political. It needs to be practical, and it needs to be
Yeah, and
there
this
needs
day
to
and
be some
age,
thought
though,
put into it
never will
by
be, I
some
don't
people
think.
that are qualified to have the thought.
Yeah.
We can't let our big cities that have never seen anything but a house cat or a coyote, to make our decisions about grizzly bears.
Well, that's why
especially
we're
up here in the
fortunate.
north.
We're fortunate in Alberta because a larger percentage of the population is they support hunting, whether they hunt or not. They know there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Like you'll see Global News and CTV News post. Actually, I just seen an elephant hunt that SCI, I think in Calgary, was auctioning off, and Global News had posted it. And so you would expect, in Vancouver or something, 100% of those comments negative. But, there was about 60 or 70% that are actually supporting the hunt. And then you had those 20, 30% that weren't. And that's the global Edmonton, right? So that's your city people.
Yeah, I've been really pleased actually with the our sort of local news, at least in this part of the province, about hunting, because they do a good job of explaining what it is to people. Like even if the headline seems a little misleading, once you read the article, they do sort of a good job. And that might be just because Alberta's more right leaning or whatever you want to be, talk about it. But they do a good job of sort of explaining, like for this elephant hunt, it's obviously the money's, they explain obviously the money's going somewhere and the whole deal of it all, instead of just saying, so-and-so is auctioning off an elephant hunt, let's put them on blast. And
yeah, they definitely did explain in the article, why SCI was doing it and what the reasoning was for it. But I was happy to see that there was more people than less that were supporting it.
Well, and I would love to know the percentage number of our population here in Alberta that hunts or eats wild game, because it's got to be massive. It might even be majority.
You think so, eh?
Well, maybe
I don't
not.
know.
Maybe not down south because there's it's a lot private down there, and sort of population is dense in the city. But
I
like
didn't look at the
Edmonton
numbers.
has its own hunting zone, like Edmonton Bow Zone.
Yeah,
right?
it's world famous.
Yeah, and huge deer right in the city limits.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy.
Let's just keep Alberta the way it is. I like it.
Well, other than that grizzly, they got to do something about that grizzly bear hunt. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many we see this year.
Yeah.
You know, last year we seen a bunch. The year before we had got a couple on trail camera. Years before that we hadn't ever seen any anywhere. So yeah, 2 years ago got them on trail camera. Last year now we're starting to see visuals of them, and then also on trail camera. So it'll be interesting to see what pops up this year.
Definitely be looking over my shoulder extra around
Yeah,
here. I always knew they were around. You know, I always figured there were stragglers.
You see tracks every now and then, but now that we're actually getting eyeballs on them and seeing them, they are magnificent animals. Like just fucking stunning. I could, watch anything all day, but those grizzly bears are pretty cool.
Yeah, fantastic. They're just like a different. We're just lucky enough to be able to see them finally, right?
Yeah. The only thing that's weird with me, and I've mentioned this before on the podcast, when you see a grizzly bear, that animal does not give a shit about you. Does not give a shit. You're either a meal or he's just going on with his day. You're just another animal because no one has hunted that animal. No one's tried to kill that animal. Where every other animal we usually see, they see, oh, that's a human, I better get out of here, or they just don't see you. Where a grizzly bear, there's two things. They're going to continue on with what they're doing, or they're going to come after you,
Yeah, I always say black bears size you up and black bears look at you and size you up, and grizzly bears look through you and decide whether or not you're worth the energy.
Have you had, I don't know if we've talked about it on here, have you had any run-ins with black bears?
Black bears?
Yeah.
Oh, I've had hundreds of run-ins with black bears.
No, like heated moments with black bears.
No, I've challenged them myself. To try and spook them off a bait, or even to try and push them off a trail or something. But no, I've really gotten to know sort of how to read black bears, at least so I think, and I've been right 100% of the time so far. So knock on wood, it stays that way.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's easy to read sort of how they're reacting to me, and I don't know, I obviously give off the right sort of energy to know that I'm not a problem for them, and it's been good with black bears.
That's good.
Even on baits and everything, like I've never really had one sort of. I've had them stand up and, try and look big back to me and everything, but they always I never pose as a threat.
Yeah,
and I'm just sort of I'm doing my thing, you're doing your thing, and keep it that way.
Yeah, when they get comfortable at that bait and they know you're there, it's tough to even get them out of there sometimes.
They just lay down like a dog and wait for you to leave. And I don't mind that. I like it like that because then they know that I'm the guy filling the bait and I'm not a threat. They're not going to want to maul me.
Yeah.
They just want me to get out of there, and it's fine. You can stay there.
Yeah.
As long as you're not encroaching when I'm doing what I'm doing.
And it's the fucking big old grouchy bears that are king of the fucking castle. They're the ones that you got to worry about.
And I actually don't mind a bear at the bait when I'm there, as long as it's not like I've never been on the bait. I've never come into the bait to bait and had my target bear there.
So what do you do in that situation when there's a bear at your bait? And you're walking into it.
I walk in. I usually walk in if it's a very active bait. I walk in without any bait first. I go and check it, make sure everything's good, make sure my stand's still up in the tree and everything's where it's supposed to be. And I have a gun just for protection. And, I'm also making sure there's no grizzly there at the time, because that's the main concern in the last couple of years that we've had them on trail cameras and everything. And then I go back, make a trip for the bait. So this is when I'm doing it on foot. Obviously, if I have a quad, I sort of just pack my first lighter load so that I'm still hands-free. And I bring bait in on the quad the first go and sort of size everything up when I'm there. But when I'm walking in, I make a trip in first empty-handed.
Yeah.
And so, when there's a bear there, I just sort of want them away from my barrels. I want them, 30 or 40, 50 yards away. The further the better, but I still want to be able to see them, because bears, they'll do it all day long. I've seen it
Yeah.
They just circle the baits,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's all they do. They do it all day long. They'll leave. You think they're gone. You think, oh, that bear is gone, whatever, even if you spook them. No, they're probably 50 yards in the trees somewhere you can't see them. And they're going to come in from the other side. And they're like, holy shit, there it is again, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And they do it all day. So I actually like when a bear lays down and is there chilling, or if it's just standing there, sitting there watching me, because I can then know if another one's going to come in based on what that bear's doing.
For sure.
Watching its eyes, watching its ears, watching the way it's turning its head.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it hears better than me. It knows what's going on. It can smell other bears. And if it spooks, then I know there's something, something to be worried about maybe.
Yeah, without a doubt. That's awesome. Yeah, they're just the coolest animals to watch. You know, all animals are cool to watch. That's what's so awesome about tree stand
just
hunting.
the best thing about bears is that we get to interact with them so much.
Yes.
You know, it's not like a deer where the deer sees you and it's like gone, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to this spring. I've beaten that down quite a bit on this podcast.
Oh, for sure. And I think that I think we do a pretty good job of explaining baiting and that it's still ethical and all this stuff.
Yes.
But the biggest thing is we still respect bears, and actually we respect them so much that baiting is like another factor in it, you know?
Yeah.
Like we've said it before. You get to watch the bear forever.
Oh,
as long as you want. You get to size it up. You make sure you're picking the one you want, a mature animal. You get to make a good shot. They're preoccupied. It's it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, and honestly, like whatever animal it is, I am 100% for baiting. Whether it's wolf, whether it's black bear, whether it's white-tailed deer, I am all for it, because if you have a bait, you have a camera, you know what's coming through. Like you said, you can judge those animals. It gives you time. So, when we shoot bigger bears, they've all usually been on baits. When you're spot and stock hunting, it's tricky to judge a bear.
Oh yeah, because you don't know if it's standing in a pothole. You don't know if it's standing up on a mound. You don't know if it's in tall grass.
And you might see 10 bears in a day. And then some days you might see nothing all day. And then you see one and you're so jacked up because you've seen that one and it's go time, right? Where when you're at a bait, you sort of know what's going to come through. If you're hunting a bait with deer, there's going to be bigger deer in that buck that came through. So you hold out for the big one. And yeah, I'm 100% for it. And that's...
Well, and in the moment, you get a more ethical opportunity, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and our guys in Saskatchewan, like southern Saskatchewan, where they can bait, right? They put out the antler obsession all year round. It creates a safe space for those animals. They know what's in the area, and they sit on that bait all season and they wait for that big one because they know that one's there. He's going to come through. Where if you're spot and stock hunting, you're going to have a lot less mature deer shot, more young ones, and if it means you can have a kid out there and see 10 deer in a day, I think it's just a win-win-win all the way around.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. But I don't know. And they're talking about it here in Alberta, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, no, it's in motion, definitely.
It is. Have you heard anything?
No, not anything new. I mean, just that they're pushing for it. They think that it's gonna bring a lot more opportunity to the outfitting industry here.
Yes.
Because in Alberta there is such a high deer population, but there's such a low, big deer kill rate because we live in the bush. Like, you're lucky. No matter if you're running stands and baits, or you can run baited cameras, you can bait trails, but you just can't hunt over bait here.
Okay, yeah.
You can still pattern deer. People do all kinds of crazy shit. They do like food plots and stuff like that, and there's ways to work around it so it's legal, but it's still a roll of the dice because they're living in the bush.
Yeah. Well, and that's like at the shop here, we get, 60 deer a year, and 75% of those guys, you'll talk to them and you just got to cover ground. That's pretty much.
I've been driving around for 3 days and then I finally seen it.
That's pretty much the only way to do it, right? And so, what's better, driving around in your truck all day long, or sitting somewhere at an established bait site and,
Well, you just think, right? We live on the edge of, Slave Lake. There is no private land here.
No,
so,
none.
You see a deer in your hunting spot, that deer crests the hill and goes up over the mountain, and it could walk in a straight line for days and days
Yeah.
and months and just be in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Never to cross a highway, never to cross, maybe a pipeline or two,
Oh yeah.
but gone, right?
Yeah, it's unreal. And like this hunting season, I sat in a stand on what I thought was like the perfect trail. And the problem within that dense bush is there's not like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trails they use. There's 500 trails everywhere, right? And so this is thousands of square kilometers of just bush. Like as you go up in the air, it's just trees as far as you can see.
And from where your tree stand is, if you were to walk into a straight line, as far as you wanted to go, I could
be
go
gone 1,000 kilometers, 600 kilometers,
and never cross a highway, never cross a road. Just be in the middle of nowhere.
So it's not like you're hunting a giant field where you see that buck when he comes out at half a kilometer away.
Yeah, and you got to pick which corner of the field to sit in.
This, like you can see 30 yards ahead of you, 50 yards ahead of you, and that is it. And you got to hope that in this 1,000 square kilometer area that this deer is going to step out in that 30, 50 yards. Yeah. It is freaking tough, man. And I sat for, I think it was like 160 hours added up. And then one weekend I said, you know what? I'm going to hunt cut lines. I'm going to go check these cut blocks and hunt those where I can see a little bit more. And, I had some does coming through, some very, spikers and stuff like that, but nothing worth shooting. But it is so tough to hunt these mature whitetails in this area. And that's why the outfitters are really pushing for this, because they just can't compete with Saskatchewan or BC or anywhere else where you can bait.
It's still, from my perspective, it still costs the same to run a hunt here as it does in Saskatchewan.
Okay.
But we can't, in Alberta here can't guarantee massive deer because it's not over bait. Yeah. They can show you the big deer they've killed over the years, but it's not the same as having, them set up for you.
Yeah. So it's tricky. It is tricky, but hey, there's big deer around. We get them in here.
Oh, it is, and I hope it moves forward. I hope it does soon.
Yeah,
and I hope.
I looked at the proposed changes for this year, and it wasn't on the list. But I don't know if.
No, it wasn't for the regulations. Right, I don't think so. No, but
so next couple of years maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping in the next few years it's going to be in motion.
Yeah,
it would be good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I know the guys in Saskatchewan, they've been pumping that big game supplement out by Antler Obsession right now, and it's been working wonders for them. Creates a nice safe space for those animals. So you create that safe space this time of year when they need those nutrients, and they're going to hit that spot all year round. So you create that now, set it up somewhere where other hunters aren't going to go come hunting season. You know where they're going to be. And that's what these guys have been doing like the last year and whatnot. And, it's been working really well for them.
Yeah.
Really
and it's good for deer.
Extremely beneficial, high in phosphorus, calcium. Everyone knows antlers are made up of phosphorus. So if you provide additional phosphorus, you're going to have, higher bone density, a few more inches, a few more non-typical points. And it's good stuff. It's got those protein pellets. Moose go crazy over it. And I think why the moose and elk go crazy over it is because of the molasses and sugar beet in it. So it's got that sweetness, eh? And the moose go insane over it. Insane.
And the elk are crazy for it.
Oh, elk too. Yeah. Like I've got guys ask me how often to put it out. And if you're using it for deer, you put it out every 4 to 6 weeks. Elk, the problem with elk is you'll get a herd come through and they'll stay there for a week and they'll just dig that ground up. So if you got elk in the area, you want to put it out every couple of weeks usually. But the elk go insane over it. And that's the issue with elk is they'll come through in herds, right? So you'll have a dozen or you'll have 20 or 30. So they go through it a little quicker, where moose, you'll have 3 or 4 or 2 or 1 come through, right? So a moose, you can still get away with putting it out every month. But that supplement is super, super beneficial this time of year.
And I just heard the turkeys love it.
Turkeys, yeah. There's a guy in Manitoba who's got gobblers all over the place, and he's been putting it out, and they've just been going nuts. So he's going to send me some trail camera photos. And
that's awesome. That's unreal.
Yeah. So that's sort of cool. But we'll have to try it out in Sasquatch, see if he likes it too.
Yeah. And you can find that at nontypicalnation.org.
Nontypicalnation.org. And we have a promo code podcast. Yeah, promo code podcast, 10% off, I believe.
Nontypical.org.
Yeah, check it out, guys. And yeah, our website, we've added an article and blog section. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out. We've got 5 or 6 writers who are writing some great stuff for us. We're releasing 1 or 2 articles every week. So the writers, it's totally up to them with what they want to write about, and they've got the freedom with that. And it's been driving a lot of traffic to our webpage. A lot of people have been enjoying them. We got the podcast on our webpage. We've got some sneak peeks for our TV show. We've got a lot going on. So check out nontypical.org.
Yeah, and more to come.
More to come. We've got that Yorkton trade show. We mentioned that earlier.
Yes.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a big booth this year. We're going to have a lot of space. We're going to film and record some live podcasts.
Yeah. So if you're interested, anybody,
you're interested
and interesting, and you think you might be a good addition to the podcast, well, maybe just maybe hook up Non-Typical Nation and see if you're going to be at the Yorkton show. Maybe we'll make something happen.
Yeah, that Parkland Outdoor Show, it is one of the biggest hunting trade shows in Canada. And it's a ton of fun. We went last year. We had a blast chatting with people, meeting different people. Went to the banquet as well, and it's all for a great cause. I think it's it all goes to North American archery.
Was it Outdoor for Kids? No.
Is it Outdoor for Kids?
I think they were doing something
like that.
Yeah, I think people had a blast at our booth too, man. Like our booth had a crowd all day, every day.
It was rocking. Yeah. So we'll have like triple that space this year. So we'll have some room. Guys can pick up some Antler Obsession there. We're gonna have a whole bunch of Non-Typical Nation swag. We'll have a TV rolling through some highlight reels, maybe giving a sneak peek of what's gonna air on Sportsman Channel. We'll have a little table set up where we can record some podcasts, and it's just a weekend of just chatting with different people and meeting people, and it's a lot of fun.
And it's a great show. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on there. I think they're having an Elk Calling Competition this year. Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so Steven Smith with Smith Game Calls, I think they're sort of spearheading it, and that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and they are also doing that archery dodgeball tag. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So they're gonna have like a whole gym set up for that, or what?
I don't know all the details. I'm sure you guys can find it at the Parkland Outdoor Show Facebook page or web page or something. But I don't know where they're doing it.
That's cool.
Yeah, maybe in the arena.
We might have to put in a team.
Yeah.
We're going to have enough people there. We might have to put in a team.
Yeah, we're going to have a few guys there. A few of our writers are going to be there. Myself, Eric, I think Jordan's going to be there. Tommy might come up from Pennsylvania. He might be there too. And we'll have some nice taxidermy there as well.
Yeah. So if you're in the Yorkton area, swing by the booth. Come
on by. Send us a message if you're going to, and maybe we can meet up sometime along the way or whatever. So yeah, it's a good one. I enjoy it.
We have a lot of our great sponsors are there too, right? Like APA was there last year.
Yes.
Old Smokes was there.
Yeah, he's going to be there.
Kodiak LED was there.
Yeah, Badlands.
And Steve Smith Game Calls, he's there.
Yeah, they'll all be there.
That's awesome, man.
We're just missing Geopack. If you're listening, come up to Canada.
Yeah, there we go. We'll even go moose hunting. Right
on. And we've got a new line of seasoning and rub. So we've got a meat rub and a big game, wild game seasoning as well coming out. So that's going to be out hopefully in the next month or so. So we will have it at the Yorkton Trade Show. We're going to give a whole bunch away, and you can buy it there as well. So watch for that, guys. I just tested some out today. I tested the rub out on a mule deer ribeye, and it's damn good.
Yeah, it's really to die for.
Yeah, it's good. It's literally, it's a sweet and smoky flavor. And so we did the rub tonight, and it was good. And then the spice is a sweet, salty with a little bit of heat. So it's going to be a good one too.
Awesome. I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm a horrible cook. Are you?
No, I'm not. Man, I just don't cook.
I'm an awful cook.
I don't cook, but I will cook, but if somebody else is cooking, I'll eat.
Yeah, for sure. Like even just cooking steaks, I don't know what it is. I struggle. I overcook it or I undercook it or
really
something. I can gather the meat, bring it in, but when it comes to like the cooking aspect, I'm just not good.
No, I can cook. I don't know. It's easy to follow instructions.
Are you a good cook though?
Oh yeah.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, I think I am.
You can cook a good steak or
Yeah.
good tenderloin.
Yeah, anybody I've ever cooked for has never had any issues. So
Right on. Well, I'm looking forward to a good meal one of these days.
yeah. Well, on the bear hunt, maybe I'll be cooking in camp.
Yeah.
Come on that bear hunt.
Yeah, that'll be a ton of fun. I'm really looking forward to having some new guys up here and chasing some bears. You know, we'll sort of decide if it's going to be a spot and stock type thing or over bait.
That's the
just
beauty
sort
of
of
it. We
wait and
have
see.
so many options, and we can work it out. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just lots of fun.
Yeah. No, it's
Get
going
a
to be.
chance to see Sasquatch.
Yeah, hopefully, man. This guy swears it was up here. It'd be good to have him here and chat, even on the phone if he can call in.
It would be
Let's
good
talk about this.
to have a Finding Sasquatch Non-Typical Nation episode if we
Wow.
actually got footage of Sasquatch.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Interesting. Well, even if we don't get footage, I'm sure we could put something together.
We could probably put something together.
I think our first year, we put together a hog hunt and we didn't have one clip of a hog.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we had a partial kill video.
Yes, that's this, and that's the struggle
just
with
amateur
filming,
videography
well,
right there.
filming your hunts, man.
Yep.
Like I was talking to a guy about it today, and I would never push anyone or even suggest for anyone to film hunts. Like I just don't do it anymore. I used to be like, yeah, let's film our hunts, let's do this. Where now, no, like you're gonna
You either
ruin your outlook on hunting if
you either
film
have it or you don't, and you either want to do it or you
Yeah.
don't. There's no middle ground.
Well, the issue is the camera. You gotta hunt with that camera before you hunt with your
yeah, I was
weapon.
gonna say you have to put the camera first.
Yeah, and that's an issue with everyone. A lot of people, like if you don't have meat in the freezer, you got to get an animal down. It's tricky.
It is.
And we're still learning a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But we've been fortunate. I think this season we'll have 10 or 11 episodes airing, so it'll be good. I think I'm on editing episode 7 right now, so we're on track to a good season.
And you know what? I struggle with self-filming all year long.
Yeah.
But I love it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I've had, I try and take people with me. Hey, you can film for me or whatever, but it's just never quite what you want,
Yeah, there's a lot to learn when it comes to filming, and
there's something about having that out of the box sort of thinking to get that angle or to be there when it's like, oh, something's about to happen. Let me get that shot.
And
like even if it's as simple as stepping in a puddle and your boot splashing the water, that cameraman's got to see that before it happens and want to capture it and put the effort in to capture it.
Yeah, and I think what the problem is, like, even if it's someone who has filmed before and knows what they're doing, when you're the hunter, you're expecting to get some shots, and that guy might get shots that you aren't expecting to get, but then you probably won't get the shots that you were expecting to get.
Yeah.
So you're sort of let down because you were expecting to get this, but you didn't get it. But that guy is good. It's just he had a different
style.
idea for
you
it.
gotta have
that's
like
why
a
it's-
linear style, and the people just gotta work together.
And that our style at Non-Typical Nation is self-filmed hunts.
Yeah.
And I love self-filming. It's a struggle. Like the elk hunt we did was
It's just easier overall, though. There's less stress
yeah.
about it because you're like, okay, I got it or I didn't get it, or
but
this
there's
is
some
what I want,
things
this
you can't do. Like, how are you going to film a spot and stock mule deer hunt in Saskatchewan with a bow and a camera? Like, very, very tough.
very difficult.
You got to sneak in on that animal. You got to get your camera set up. Then you got to get up and get a shot. And that is tough. Like our elk hunt, that's going to be an episode as well. There's 2 of us, but I was self-filming myself while we were hunting. And then, filming Steven as well and whatnot. And that was a tricky one. Those spot and stock hunts are tough to self-film.
Oh, absolutely. Because you got to get your camera set up, and then you got to get you either got to try and get in front of that camera, or make your shot while still keeping the animal in the
Very
frame.
tough. Yeah. So what we did is we had called this elk, like we were right in his kitchen, and he came in, and this is heartbreaking, man. Like, I've been editing this episode for the last
This is
week,
one you
it
missed.
bothers me
Yeah.
so much. And so Steven, like, I've watched this 15 fucking times. And so Steven's like, get up here, get up here. So I go up and I pass him the camera. And so I've got the gun and he's over my shoulder, almost a perfect frame. The elk's right there. My shoulder's right there. I shoot and I go right over his back. And I thought I got him because he spun around, he slipped, and then he ran off. And we walk up there and just heartbreak on my face.
No
Can't
cigar.
find him, nothing, right?
I had one of those too this year, though.
Yeah. And so that's how we did it. Like, it was nice that I had him there. But I guess what I'm getting at, if I was by myself, you know, this elk was in some super dense bushes. And there's no way I would have been able to shoot and film that thing. So, you know, self-filming has its challenges. You are extremely limited. But you know, if you got the drive to do it, and if you're bound and determined to do it, where there's a will, there's a way.
We really got to experiment with maybe teaming up here in the next few years.
Yeah.
We somehow we've totally avoided hunting with each other in the last couple of years.
Yeah, you know, I think what it is you and I we're probably
got such
stubborn.
crazy schedules too, though.
Yeah, well, that, but we've. Like you have your way of hunting and you love like you enjoy hunting so much by yourself that you schedule all your weekends for what you're going to do during the hunting season. And that's how I am. If I have 10 weekends to hunt or 8 weekends to hunt, I've already got those scheduled pretty much before the season starts, you know? And then so come September 24th, I'm like, hey, Eric, come deer hunting. You're like, no, I'm going to the cabin. Or you're like, hey, Brody, come elk hunting. I'm like, well, no, I'm going here, right? Yeah. So it's so tough. But yeah, like that hog hunt we did, I think, we did the hog hunt together. Yep. And I don't even know if we've done any bear hunting together. No,
we've never even sat. We've built stands and we've built stands and we've baited
to hunt them hunt them by ourselves. Yeah, that hog hunt was a ton of fun. And something like that, now you're getting into that spot and stalk hunting again, it is extremely beneficial to have a cameraman. The goose hunt, the goose and duck hunt we did this year, I knew I couldn't film it by myself. So I hired a cameraman and he did a great job and we got that done. So yeah, there's some hunts that you just can't self-film, but our image for Non-Typical Nation is sort of a self-filmed type
absolutely
type thing. But
and that's what I'll always revert back to. I mean, like, even my sheep hunt, you know, the episode from 2 years ago, it was a team effort. All three trips were, you know, 3 or 4 people.
Yes.
But I filmed all of it myself. And it's just because I knew what I wanted. I knew what I expected of it. And I knew the footage that I wanted to get. So I'm doing it.
Yeah. And you don't want to be a burden on someone to have them film you.
Oh no! And on the sheep hunt, like, that was such a torturous trip. There's as so it much was.
Exactly.
Like, I felt bad for just like inviting people, and I openly invited them. It was never like, hey, you need to come. Yeah. But I felt bad the whole, you know, every step I was hurting. I knew they were hurting. You know, probably a little bit more. Yeah. So So I packed a gun and I packed all the camera gear, and it's just the way she went.
And that's just it. Like, if I do go hunting with anyone, I'm not even going to ask them to film because I don't want them to, because it's just not going to be enjoyable for them. I'm not going to get what I want. So, you know, when you need someone, I'd rather hire them because then now this is their job to do it. And then you don't feel as bad.
But you know, it works.
But then they enjoy it because then they're getting paid to go hunting and film you.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Where if you just say, hey, Joe, come along with me, film my hunt. Well, then he's spending a day. Yeah, he's hunting, but he's not really getting anything out of it. He's running a camera. So, it's sort of a balancing act.
But I think it would be good. Like, it would be good for me and you, I think, to do it because anytime we've gone out, you know, if I'm doing something or if you're doing something, the first thing I think of, well, I could be taking a picture of you, or I could be taking a video of you. And we've done that, and it's all seems sort of natural.
We know what we want, and we know what we need.
Yeah, and we know what we've done in the past and sort of just keep repeating it. And that's what's great about like hunting with Ryan.
Yes.
I love hunting with Ryan. He's hunted with me for the last 5 or 6 years, and his schedule is crazy, and He's a little bit, doesn't care to reply sometimes and all that stuff.
Yeah, wasn't he supposed to be on the podcast tonight?
Yeah,
or one of these days?
I don't know, one of these nights he'll get around to it. I think there's some UFC fights going on tonight, so he can't be bothered. But he's great because he's always thinking of, taking a picture of me. And that's like, I have so many self-filmed videos of me talking.
Yes.
I have maybe enough pictures to count on my hands and feet of just myself doing something. Like there's not, because I can't step away, set my timer up on my camera, walk away, and then take a picture of myself every.
You know what? I make it a priority every time I'm out that I get one photo of myself, and that I try and do like just one promotional photo or something.
I do the
like that
same
for our
thing,
sponsors.
like as taking one photo of myself, but it's always the same shitty selfie. Like, they're all just terrible, and I'm like, I'll never post this.
Yeah, I've got 10,000 photos in my camera reel that I'll never post, but I try and make it a priority to set the camera up on a tripod and get a photo of me doing something. It's good to have rather than the regular selfie type thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the self-filming though it's a lot of fun once you get into it, but I would never suggest it to anyone because it's
no, unless you're crazy like us.
Yeah.
It takes up a lot of your life. You got to get up an hour earlier than the hour early you're getting up for hunting anyway, and
you got to film your hunt.
You got to
charge
everything.
You got to come back the next day, and you got to film yourself walking in and out of the bait 5 times, climbing up the stand.
And then you got to watch all the footage, and then you got to curse it the fact that you forgot to hit record a certain time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I've had a few incidents like that.
Yeah. Well, me too. That's what happened this year with my deer. I thought I hit record
really?
and I didn't.
Oh,
and it's just the way she goes.
Jeez. Yeah, I noticed that. You're missing a shot there.
Yeah. And I even tried to recreate it, and it was just like not the same.
Yeah, I went through all your stuff, and there was one intense moment when you're hunting elk in the bush and you had a bull screaming right back at you.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Did I see it?
I don't think so.
Or was that someone, was that, because there were bushes moving all over the place. Was that you walking into the camera?
I'm not sure. It would. I don't know. I don't know which clip you're talking about. I took a lot of fucking footage this year.
Interesting.
No, there was a couple videos of elk screaming back at me though. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you got a beautiful hot spot there.
I got a couple.
Moose, deer.
I got a couple.
Yeah.
They're all over the place too.
Wow.
They're every direction you can think of.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
I'm nomadic. I don't like to stay in the same place at all. That's why I hang a tree stand every year, and I've never sat in it in the last 3 years. So.
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 different spots for deer and whatnot, but I always, like all season, I hunted the one spot. I always hunt the spot that is usually the most active. And my issue this year is I just hunted it too much. I overhunted it, right? And so that's when I should have been utilizing those other spots.
That's how I get, but I think I underhunt places because I'm just like, oh, I should go here. Oh, well, there was nothing today. Well, maybe I'll go try there.
Yeah.
And then I feel like I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm jumping around way too much and I just need to like stick to a place. And often that's what happens is after the 3rd or 4th day in the same area, you finally sort of figure out everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's tricky. I got to get out and get some new cameras out and stuff here.
Yeah, me too.
But it's busy, and that's like this hog hunt we were chatting about. I was going over the calendar tonight at supper time, and like we're going to Edmonton a couple days next month, and then we got the Edmonton Boat and Sportsman show, and then we got another thing going on, and then we got the Yorkton show. So we got to figure out a weekend soon where we can get out before we're all clogged right up with.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm gonna go get my bow figured out here next weekend.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you get a hold of those guys?
I sent them an email. They want a date to like figure everything out, which makes sense.
Awesome.
So I'm just sort of letting my work schedule smooth out in the next couple
guys
days.
To deal
and
with
then
there.
I'm gonna fly over to Bigger and see Nabal at APA and get a bow made up.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have you got a hold of any of the other guys?
No, I haven't, just because I don't have a date figured out just yet.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
no, I'm going to talk to
Sweet.
Charlie. I'm going to see if any of the guys in
I am
Saskatchewan
super
want
glad
maybe
to
meet.
hear.
Yeah.
Super glad to hear. I was thinking of that tonight on whether or not you got a hold of them or not.
Yeah, no, we're going to get something going. You know,
They're just getting off of trade show season. They're at ATA and whatnot.
Yes, and I don't remember who replied to my email, but they said, yeah, we're doing shows, so just give us a date. We'll figure something out. We'll make it work. And
Nice.
yeah, we're going to tour their spot and see their
Sweet,
stuff,
man.
shoot all their bows, and going to make a little production of it. And maybe we'll even do a little podcast when we're there.
Nice. That'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm super glad to hear that.
Yeah,
You're going to love that bow, man. You're going to love that bow. I got, I started with a bear, I think it was a bear attitude it was called. And, I killed a few bears and stuff with it. And good bull, fully adjustable. That's what you want to start with. And I think I was drawing back like 50 pounds. It wasn't much. And this new APA, I jumped up to 60, and it's smoother and easier to pull back than that 50 pounder was. And it just shoots like an absolute dream. And right out of the box, so they chronographed it and figured out what the speed was there at the factory, and it was like 700 or 300 and I think 27 or 17 or something like that. Just a super fast bow, light. It's 28 inches limb to limb, so it's small. And yeah, I love it. You're going to love yours.
And they have all those awesome features. They have that
Yeah.
whole tool kit right on the bow. They got a broadhead knife sharpener,
Yeah.
broadhead wrench, knock wrench. What else is on there? They have a carry handle.
Yeah, it's unreal.
What do they call that system? It's like it's got a
The timing.
Yeah, they have the quick timing, fully adjustable cam timing.
Yeah.
And they also, I think that's called like micro adjust or something.
Yeah.
Their new technology.
Yeah, we shared a video on our Facebook page about it.
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
And
they actually won an award at ATA with that.
Really, this year
Yeah,
in 2020?
yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
And then they also have all of their bows are you don't need a bow press for them, right? They
No.
have that special pin slider
Yeah.
that fits right in the bow. You have a string come off, or you need to change something or loosen it off. You can do it right there in the bush anywhere.
Yeah. So when you're sheep hunting and you're 20, 30 kilometers back and something happens to
you
your
drop
bow,
it or slice it on a rock or whatever, and you
can
gotta
hopefully fix her up there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah,
And
they're awesome
The
bows.
best part about APA, Canadian made, baby.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, home of the Hanson Buck in Bigger, Saskatchewan.
Right there in Bigger, Saskatchewan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice place. Fields as far as you can see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
I'm excited. I'm excited to go and see nothing again.
that's
It
awesome.
was a fun trip to Yorkton
How far
last
is
year.
it from here?
I think it's about 7 hours. So
Oh, that's not bad.
no, not bad at all. That's why I'm just thinking take a
Yorkton's
week.
what, 11 or 12 for us?
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the weekend and just fly there.
Yeah.
Do the thing and take a whole day while
So
I'm
you do
there.
a
and
Saturday,
take my
Sunday?
time. Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then just come back and I might buy a bow right there if there's one I really want, or
Yeah.
I think I'm maybe gonna get them to custom
Build
me
it.
up and build it and ship it.
That's
when I'm
exciting.
done. But I want to shoot all their bows. I want to see what they got. I want to see what fits me. And I just want to talk to them, hear the story, and
Yeah.
maybe we can share with everybody too.
Super cool, man. I look forward to seeing that. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, I got to get my target just set up in the shop here. I can shoot, I think it's 25 yards.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about this. Like the shop has to be almost 20 yards or at least.
Yeah, I think it's 22 yards or something.
We should shoot like before every podcast.
Yeah, that's
or
what I
something.
did last. Yeah, that's a good idea. Hopefully my wife isn't listening to this because she already says it's too long. But yeah, no, that's I set up the target in the back wall and then shoot from the other wall, and I think it's 23 or something like that.
Right on.
I haven't shot in a while, and I bought a new release too. I got a thumb release, so
I'm
I gotta play
itching
around with
so
that.
bad, man. It's been just driving me crazy since I put my bow away in October.
Yeah,
Because I love just shooting all year round. I've
Yeah.
always shot all year round. This last year, because I've been having issues with my bow, it's not worth putting the time in for me right
Yeah.
now. So I want to get this bow early.
Oh,
I
I
want to
hear
get
ya.
it, early February or even before the end of January here. Start shooting.
yes, get it right away.
And
Awesome.
get it dialed in, be pumped about it, have it all set up, and be ready for bear season. Be
Awesome.
ready for hog hunting.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to, so figure out when you're going, and then we'll, if you have another free weekend, we'll plan this hog hunt.
Oh, yeah.
We're running low on that pig meat and those Pigs are so much fun to hunt. So
I'm so excited to go back. I've wanted to go back for the last couple of years. It was awesome.
It's a cool experience. It's a tough hunt too. It's
not easy. That's the best part about it. It wasn't very easy. Hard. That's what I loved about it.
I remember I
wanted one more day when we were there last time because I felt like we just finally figured it out.
You were angry.
I was.
Yeah, you were angry.
Last night, me and Ryan had them figured out. We had 5 opportunities and just couldn't land a shot. And it was like, oh, we finally figured them out. And then we had to leave. But Tommy got one. He did.
Yeah, and you guys got a nice blonde bear.
Yeah, on the way out the next morning, we did. Yeah, that was his first bear.
Yeah, the landowner told us, he said, if you see any bears, he said, shoot them. There's so many bears. And sure enough, we just leave the property and there's a blonde bear right on the edge of it.
And Ryan cracked at it. That's a good story. I could tell that story real quick.
Yeah. And we filmed it. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see a short video. It's on there. Yeah.
It's filmed with your old camera that was zoomed into like 150.
It was I was on the gravel road and these guys were all the way in.
We were like 600 yards.
Long ways. Tell the story.
So we were rolled out of the hog camp and we were still on the property there and it's like, oh, there's a blonde bear standing, on the tree line. And so we pulled over and looked at it through the binoculars. It was just feeding on the clover on the edge of the tree line, and I ranged it at something like 700 and I don't know, maybe almost 800 yards.
That's what it was from the road.
Yeah, it was a long ways.
Wow.
And we got out and we started walking towards it, and it didn't even look at us. The wind was blowing good right in our face, and he didn't even know we were there. So got Ryan all set up with the gun. We just started walking in, and this is all. I think you have the video of us sort of creeping through the
whole
field.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah. So we made it into about 300 yards, and then the bear seen us, and he kind of looked up, didn't really bother, went back to eating. We walked in another 100 yards. It was about 150, and I'm just running the rangefinder for Ryan. And we laid down, got set up, and I think it was like 200 and some yards, something like that. And he wasn't comfortable making the shot. He was too excited. He hadn't even killed an animal yet. This was his first big game animal. Yeah.
A blonde bear.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so, the bear wasn't alarmed at all. It was still just feeding. It was pretty relaxed. So we moved in like another 100 yards. And I think when he killed it, we were at about 125 yards.
And on the video, it seemed like you guys were 20 feet away.
Yeah. And I remember seeing the video.
So close.
Yeah. And so we actually had to sort of circle the bear because of the way it was feeding. We wanted to just stay out of its eyesight. It turned its back to us at one point, and then we cut a sharp circle and got into like 125 yards. And then we laid down, and it was in, I think, like a hay field or something.
Yeah.
So there was like 6 inches of brush stubble sticking up everywhere. And it was wet. Like by the time we got to the back of the field, there was like 1.5 inches of water.
Wow.
And so we found this little mound that was, not laying in the water. And I laid down, Ryan laid down beside me. He's like, I can't get steady, above the stubble. So I said, okay. We didn't have a pack or anything with us. We're just in jeans and a t-shirt, really. And I said, okay, I'm going to lay down and you're going to shoot off of my ass. Because that was the only thing high enough. I didn't want him shooting off my shoulder or anything.
No, for sure.
So he rested the gun on my ass. And I said, you tell me when you're about ready and I'll hold my breath. And then you do your thing.
Wow.
And he cracked the shot off and that bear didn't go 20 yards and piled up right on the edge of the trees.
That is awesome.
Yeah. We hauled
That's
her home.
a really nice
got
bear.
It tanned. Actually, you made a rug for him. Yeah,
an open mouth rug. Yeah,
awesome bear. Beautiful blonde. Transitioned. It has cinnamon back, goes right into blonde feet. It's a beautiful bear.
Yeah, those are awesome.
And good eating. We ate it. It was a good bear.
Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Those bears that you can get in right off those fields, they're pretty much grain fed. Those are good ones to eat. Yep. We eat them all, but the first bear I tried was where I elk hunt. And we were with Amy's aunt and uncle, and they had shot a few nuisance bears because there's just bears everywhere destroying crops. And they cooked some up, and it was the first time I tried bear. And from there on, I'm like, I got to keep some bear meat when I kill these bears. And that was pretty much a grain-fed bear, and it was delicious.
Yeah. First bear I ever killed, Actually, you guys did a rug for me too. I was, I don't know, 16 maybe.
That was a big bear too.
It was a really big bear. And
Do you have the skull on that? Yeah, we did the skull on it.
Yeah, it
Where
was
did that skull
18 and something, I think.
high
Or no,
18s.
almost 19.
19, yeah.
And we were surprised. I think you messaged me and you were like, "Hey man, that like the skull is actually pretty big on this bear."
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, I just turned 16 and bear hunting. I'd always ask my dad about bear hunting because I had an uncle that did it once in a while, but I never went with him or anything like that. And so I always asked my dad, why don't we hunt bears or can we ever shoot a bear or whatever? And he's like, "Oh no, they're gross and stinky. You don't want anything to do with that," and all this stuff. So then I started, getting into hunting a lot, especially when I turned 16 and I got my own vehicle and everything. So I really wanted to go kill a bear.
Yeah.
So I said, "Dad, do you want to go just drive around with me? Just come for a ride. You can show me some of the oil roads, and, take a gun. If we see a bear, we see a bear." So we're probably gone, 25 minutes. We're driving down the road and we're actually driving right through the Sasquatch area.
Yeah. Same
spot. I drive by it a million times every year, hunting, whether I'm hunting moose, bear, deer, elk, whatever. I'm driving right by there. And here's this big old black bear standing up on the hillside. So pulled over real quick. I got out. I sized him up. I knew I wanted him. Picked him off. He ran up over the hill. We got him. We got up to the bear. And then my dad goes, "Well, what the fuck are we going to do with this thing now?" Like, we couldn't lift it, either one of us. And, my dad, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
We couldn't pick the head up. We couldn't even barely roll it over. And
wow.
It was eating on the edge of an old road that, it was caved in or whatever. Went up over the hill and crawled into, like they always do, the worst hole it could find.
Yeah.
Which was like a pickup sticks of burnt timber. So just a total mess. You're walking up over trees that are at your waist, and it's just crazy. And this bear had climbed over, before it had died, climbed over and into this pile of trees.
Oh, wow.
So we realized, we can't even get a rope down here. There's nowhere we're dragging this thing out. We're gonna skin it right here. So we start moving logs and everything, and then we start skinning the bear. And when we opened the bear up, the meat was actually blue.
Really?
And the inside of the skin was tinted blue. And so I started, I looked in its mouth. His whole mouth was blue and everything, full of blueberries. And, the pile of shit that came out of him when we flipped him over was all blue. And by the time we finished skinning him, his whole body, his whole meat had this blue tinge to him.
Wow.
But the catch, now, and I'll never forgive myself for this, was that I didn't do enough research before I went out and shot this bear about eating it. And now with the way I am about eating my bears, I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Because a blueberry bear is said to be, by a lot of people,
yes, I've heard that too,
the best big game meat on the face of the planet.
And that meat was blue.
And particularly the blue meat of a blueberry bear.
Yeah.
Like when it is that color. When that is their 95% of their diet or whatever.
That is too cool. I've never noticed that.
And so I've never had a bear. I've killed bears on blueberry patches since then, and never had a bear that color, to the point where the actual inside of his skin, not as, his fat was purple, his skin had a blue tinge to it, and then his meat had a blue tinge to it. But I never took one shred of the meat of that bear, and that was just because the tradition in my family with my dad was, you don't touch bears, you don't eat them.
Yeah.
He was angry and upset to even be skinning the damn thing that night.
Oh,
he had a million better things he would rather been doing. So
yeah, I also, in that similar area, we got a fall bear 2 years ago, and it was eating blueberries, it was in a blueberry patch, but his meat wasn't blue. But I've heard a lot of good things.
I've never eaten a bad bear. I have skinned bears that somebody else's bear that I wasn't planning on eating anyway, and known that it was you're not going to want to eat.
Have you seen worms and bears?
I
visually
haven't.
seen them?
Not up here.
So we had John the Trapper. We've talked about him all the time.
Podcast episode 3.
Yeah, is that what it is? 3?
Episode 3.
Yeah, he was helping us out at the shop here last year, and he was skinning a bear head, and he pointed out the ear. He said, "Hey, there's worms in this ear," and I looked, and you could literally see the worms in this bear's ear.
I have seen worms here in the shop.
Oh, really?
I
And
have.
bears?
Yes, I have in the shop.
Okay.
But I've never seen them like on my own hunting or guiding or anything like that.
And
but
I
I
don't
have
know
skinned
if
them here in the
I'm-
shop and seen them.
And I've only seen them when guys have pointed them out to me. I don't know if I'm just like speeding through things, not seeing them. But I remember that time John showed me, and you've probably shown me then before too. But I've never skinned one of my animals with worms.
Me neither. Not one of
before.
my personal ones. No.
Yeah, interesting. And it's funny, we were talking about this tonight when we were having supper for whatever reason. And Amy was on a moose hunt, wasn't with me, and they had got a moose. And they were grounding up this meat, and they were like little pus sacks, it looked like, and they were full of worms. This moose was just full of them. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So
what they did, they literally picked them out, and it took them like 3 days to go through all this meat and everything, and they had to get rid of a bunch of it.
Did they ask anybody about what it was?
I don't know. I have no idea. This was a long time ago, before I knew her, but yeah, it's
still here.
So. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I don't know. You don't hear of people dying from.
No, you don't really hear about anything.
And then
like
I was thinking, I don't butcher my animals. So if the butcher was to, would the butcher tell you?
Well, if it was something,
it
was something to be concerned about, he should.
But are worms anything to be concerned about? Do we hear or see?
Well, it obviously depends on what it is, right?
Like they talk about trichinosis with bears, but you never hear anything about any worms or disease with.
And I've heard that
ungulates.
trichinosis is possible in bears, but it's pretty, at least, it's not really like you could probably eat bear medium rare and be okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But then again,
well, Renella got it.
But yeah, but then again, I know people that have gotten it at the same
meat
time.
eater.
Yeah. So I don't, I love eating my bears, but I cook the damn thing like I'm supposed to. But some of our fish have worms and you can still eat them, but
So that's what I mean. Like it's probably still edible with the worms. And actually she had mentioned that to me, that once you cook those worms are done. Like once you cook that meat, the worms are dead. Or if you freeze it.
If you freeze it for a certain amount of time.
Yeah. So I don't think you'd have anything to worry about. But yeah, I've never. And actually, yes, this is how it came up. We were eating our steaks, and someone at the table said, "Is that a worm?" We looked at it and we're like, "No, it's not a worm." And then that's how we got onto this topic. And then I thought, have I ever seen a worm in any of my meat? And I haven't. Like, I don't recall it. And even skinning bears and stuff, I've never seen a worm other than when you or John have showed me in the shop here.
Yeah, I've never seen, I've pretty much butchered all my deer, and I've never seen a worm in anything like that. Yeah. I've found shotgun BBs in deer and weird stuff like that, arrowheads and stuff, but I've never.
Yeah, I found bullets in animals.
Yeah, I found quite a few. Yeah,
like
surprising
elk and,
bears. Bears surprisingly,
really,
bears have. Yeah, like a lot of times I get a bear where either somebody has killed it or I've killed it.
Yeah,
and then I find another hole or a fragment of a bullet or something. Yeah.
Wow.
Bears are tough animals.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can have you and a friend up this spring for a bear hunt. We can be cooking some fresh bear meat as we're.
That's my favorite. Fresh salt and pepper back straps off a bear.
Yeah, over a fire.
And you're thinking, what? You got to cook the whole thing well done. Yeah, but the way I do it, you won't know the difference.
Right on, I'm looking forward to that.
You'll fucking love it.
Yeah, you're a good cook, you're saying.
I am a good cook. I think I'm a good cook. People tell me I'm a good cook. How else are you going to know whether or not you're a good cook, right? So.
Right on. Well, man, let's wrap her up. Where are we at? Oh, we're almost an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you guys so much for listening. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. And remember, please enter that contest. Go to our Facebook page, follow the instructions, and enter to join us on a black bear hunt this year.
Come hunt with us.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to it. If you listen to our podcast, it's quite clear that bear hunting is one of our favorite things to do.
One of our specialties.
Yeah. I would say it's a specialty. Every year we get several bears, right? So, we love it. We're in, some of the best bear hunting in North America is where we are. So we're pretty fortunate that way. But yeah, be sure to enter that contest, follow the instructions, do it comment done, and you'll be entered. February 15th, we'll have a winner for that. And check out our Facebook page, our web page, the blog articles, and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Bye-bye.